what is the suffix of one, O-N-E? Why is that always associated with some type of opioid or something?
That's a good
like
question.
hydrocodone, oxycodone, all that.
I don't know.
I remember learning it in university, but I can't remember it. There is a Latin reason for it.
I mean, in organic chemistry, it's for compounds containing a carbon double bonded to an oxygen called a ketone. So perhaps these things have that particular bond in them. I don't know. I'm speculating at this point. I honestly don't know.
There is a reason for it, Johnny, and I don't know. I can't remember. I remember learning it, though.
Oid and, what was the thing they just said?
On.
O-N-E?
Hydrocodone.
It just means that it's like something else.
Kind of like, I've taken a lot of, anti-anxiety, like lorazepam, clonazepam, diazepam.
Yeah, those all are,
the
drug class.
Specific to a drug class, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember which one. I'm no expert on that.
Speaking of, I just took a Xanax because I got a little bit upset with the last subject that we were talking about because I was, actually got a little bit of anxiety there, so freaked me out a little bit. Hey, while we're at an impasse, Prof, what's a good logical fallacy? I actually have one here you mentioned earlier.
Can we table that for a second? Just real quick. Like,
all right.
And you hear it from both sides of the fucking aisle. We want to help the vets. We want to help the vets.
Right.
Well, there is the fucking help. Fucking help me.
Right.
I hate to fly off the handle here, but
it's
help me. Help me.
Right.
You want to help? Help me.
It's the war mentality of the people that run the country. The war on drugs, if you know what I mean. Like there's no quarter given, and it's a regressive way of thinking.
But it's like Corinne said, they give you these drugs that are actually harmful to you, but they won't give you the shit that actually helps you.
Yeah, and not only that, but they're getting you addicted. It harms you physically, mentally, and then you become an addict. And I know that, like, a lot of cases in Canada, the prescription medicine, like the Oxycontin, and there was one other kind, I can't think of the name right off the bat, but it became harder for the people that came back from Afghanistan to get, and so the only other option then they have is to turn to heroin. Because once the Oxycontin supply is gone, what else are you going to do?
I don't want anything that strong. Oh, sorry. I don't even want anything that strong. I just want something to make the damn pain stop.
Mm.
You know?
Chris, can I interject here for just a second? Do you know what one of the best things that I personally have found is talking to you? You've helped me so much in expressing my pain, just me and you personally, that's the thing that I hope that you would, it doesn't have to be me, maybe someone else, but talking about the pain made me feel better. And always you can call me. Literally, you can call me. You have my cell number. If you ever feel bad, you can always call me, dude. And I know I can call you. And there's a huge support network from all of us that if you ever need to talk about things, we're here for you, man.
No, okay. I do understand that, and I appreciate it, like, immensely. Like, you do not know how much I appreciate it. I'm talking about actual physical pain right now. I don't want to bring this up.
Yeah, no, it's not fair that they don't, there's a perfectly legit, I don't want to call it I guess it is a chemical. Everything is a chemical, but there's a complete legit way that, can take away people's pain. Like lupus, for instance, marijuana is one of the only things that takes away the pain from lupus. I mean, it doesn't cure it, but at least it makes it fucking livable, right? So to keep this as Schedule 1 is insane. I just think that, like, maybe, and I don't want to be like, oh, Bernie Sanders is the greatest thing ever, but maybe if Bernie gets elected, him and Trudeau can get together and Canada and US can just be like, at least fucking pot. You know, because take cigarettes for instance. Like I'm a smoker. It's really fucking stupid, and it legit kills more people in North America than anything else. More than gunshots, more than liquor, more than car accidents. More people die in North America from smoking than any other thing, and it's not even fucking close. And that's legal, and they tax that, they sell it to you. Where marijuana, you may get the munchies.
Okay, I've basically cut out pretty much all heavy drinking, as far as like the hard alcohols go, you know, vodka, that kind of thing.
The good stuff.
Yeah, the good. And I also don't smoke anymore, like I used to do. But
awesome that you don't smoke as much anymore. Awesome.
But basically, I'm still left here, like, with this unimaginable pain, like, just constant. And you're gonna sit there on your fucking, your Senate seat and say I can't fucking, smoke a joint or, have a special cookie?
When they're the assholes that sent you there in the first place.
Yeah. It's regressive. It's the way someone made that decision a long time ago, as was stated before, because people hated Mexicans, and they want to stick with it because conservatives don't change their minds because it shows weakness. Mm-hmm. So they're going to keep up with this. They've demonized marijuana use. I mean, I don't know if you ever watched Reefer Madness or anything like that. Where
I had to.
That shit is hilarious.
Yeah. So and they haven't changed their mind on it because they don't change their minds. They're going to have to die out before we see true change. And that's the problem right there, is they're completely close-minded about any subject, and they've made their mind up about this 50 years ago, and they're not going to change it.
And I mean, not even for fucking medical reasons. I mean, no. Really? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's the same with a lot of drugs. Like LSD probably had a lot of uses, psychiatrically speaking. We'll never know about it.
Uses out of LSD. No, it's like, I like LSD. Yeah. I think it's pretty good.
I don't think it's nearly as dangerous as they say it is. I'm not advocating anyone does it, but I think it had promise if they were allowed to research it. But that research was nipped in the bud by back in the 60s, because they saw the hippie movement that sort of was getting into academia. These sort of activist hippie academics were experimenting with it, and I think the conservatives saw it as a threat. I think they're moving, like, I'm not going to say that it's like is what it was before, but I think there is kind of a move back to at least study hallucinogens. Right. They should study them. Yeah, I've noticed that there's a trend where they are, like I said, psilocybin, for people that don't know, that's the magic mushrooms. It's a really good cure for migraines. Well, these are all examples of politics stopping science from learning, because some backwards people who vote didn't like the idea of it because they're Puritans, because anything that makes you feel good is obviously sinful. We were mentioning earlier what the own at the end of words. Well, in drugs, it's actually done. Anything that's with done is an opiate. It's related to opium. That's what that means. Anything that is with Pam is a benzodiazepine. So it actually tells you what group of drugs it's in.
Oh, well, at least that kind of takes my, crap. I lost my train of thought. At least that, satisfies my curiosity.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. Those names all have meaning. They're all assigned those names to try to tell people who know what those words mean what they are. And methadone, oxycodone, whatever. That's all means it's related to opium.
Hi, this is Trav Mamone of the By Any Means podcast. Join me every week as I talk to activists, bloggers, and podcasters about the intersections between social justice and humanism. go to www.byanymeans.com, that's by spelled B-I, to listen to the podcast and read my blog. Besides, aren't we all a little bi-curious?
News from the future with the Thunder from Down Under. Drinking her Fosters and eating her bloomin' onion, here's Son Winks.
I don't think I'm going to cut any of that.
They don't eat blooming onions in Australia, do they?
Yes, they
No,
do.
there is not.
They eat that with their Vegemite.
They
I
do
love
not.
Vegemite.
Thank you, Professor Stephen.
Vegemite should be outlawed.
Yeah, I'm going to cut all this boring crap. I'm going to keep that other part in.
All right, are we ready?
Yes.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. I'm just going to clear my throat.
Tell your man to get whatever it is out of your throat.
You take it out of her throat. That's fine.
Anywho, let's begin the news.
Anywho. Wallabies and drop pass.
Good evening, pasties, and welcome to the Ear Witness News for today, tonight, and tomorrow from the future. My dear pasties, our first story this week is about a joyful occasion that made half of America spontaneously erupt into song last weekend. It is true that song was Ding Dong the Witch is Dead, but nonetheless, it was a rousing chorus heard across the world. And as the facts trickled in and the ramifications of this joyful occasion began to sink in, we were also subjected to conspiracy theories over how a 79-year-old smoker with hypertension and a misfiring ticker could have possibly croaked. And whilst I understand that the basic scientific facts elude the right-wing nutjobs, these dots are not that hard to connect. But according to them, the obvious answers were hypothesized, and the conclusion was that Obama did it. He and Hillary engaged in a Muslim Illuminati homosexual pact and had Scalia murdered by Nimoy, who is of course secretly dead, with a rogue pillow. Well, duh, how obvious. However, as obvious as this is, it is not as obvious as Scalia in zombie form continuing to preside over the Supreme Court. A Republican from Texas, of course, where the fuck else would he be from, has suggested this week with a straight face that Scalia could in fact make decisions from the grave. There is no Ouija board required to figure out how Justice Scalia would vote on these things, said Corey Laughofer. And now that we have finished laughing off her, I have some questions for old Corey. Do you understand what dead and decision mean? Because it appears that you have not grasped these basic concepts. Should we ask all the dead justices to weigh in on all the decisions? And finally, seeing as you are a self-proclaimed constitutionalist, please point to where it says in the Constitution that lifetime appointments continue past your lifetime. So not only have the Republicans managed to successfully make Congress the most ineffective branch of government in history, and also vowed to obstruct the White House, rendering the White House limping in its governance, now they want to make the Supreme Court completely useless too. With this kind of patriotism, who needs treason? And while we're talking about the GOP, our second story is the never-ending continuation of the antics from the clown car, also known as the GOP primaries. It is true that the clown car is considerably more roomy now than it was when it was first rolled out. With only 5 occupants left, Super Tuesday is going to be a very interesting contest for 3 of them. The Trinity of Stupid, as I like to refer to them, have certainly lived up to their credo of being in the circus. A major exit out of the clown car is Jeb, with a flaccid exclamation mark. Jeb jumped into the